Hey everyone, my name is Wolf Brack. I'm here at the Interurban ArtHouse. I'm about to interview one of our studio artists, Hassaballa Hassaballa. He's been with us for about a year and a half, and he's going to talk a bit about the work that he does and why he does what he does. So, Hassaballa, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your work, if you would, your work and your journey to becoming an artist.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. My name is Hassaballa Omar Hassaballa, Sudanese American, a retired professor of sociocultural anthropology, uh, and right now I live in Olathe, Kansas, with my family. Yeah.
So, how did you end up coming to the U.S. from Sudan, if I can ask?
Yeah, actually, I was offered scholarship uh, from the government of Sudan to come to the U.S. University of Washington at Seattle, Washington State, and that part of the country is very interesting for me as an artist. I like the scenery, even from the campus, the campus of the University of Washington. In a clear sunny day, you can see Mount Rainier.
Wow.
Oh, it's very nice. It's very nice.
I imagine that was inspiring to you because
Yeah,
I see a
that's
lot
fine
of.
to me. White Cap Mountains, the Puget Sound, the coastal line of Washington there, and also importantly, Olympic National Park, and they call it the Swiss of America because of the high peaks there.
Makes sense. Yeah, I see a lot of your work, be it American landscapes or Sudanese
Yeah,
landscapes. It seems like, the landscape, the land around
landscape.
you
Yeah.
factors into your work a lot. You were telling me a little earlier about, as a kid, your experiences with art. Could you tell me about that?
Yeah, uh, I grew up in a village in the White Nile state, that in central Sudan. The village mostly, uh, it had nomads and peasants who are living in that village. And actually, there was no school there. And as kid, 5 or 6 year old, I was taking care of the animals that belong to my family, sheep and goats and calves. And this is the kind of villages that we live in with my family. Also, this is another painting also depicting the same places where we used to live in. This is during, wet season. People do agriculture and herding. And during the dry season, we'll move because of inadequate resources like water and fresh grazing areas. So we go south, and it's savanna woodland, open savanna woodland with tall grass that people settle there for some time, and then with the coming of the rain, then they move north and live in villages like this, village like this, and they do their agriculture. And this village, there is what you call generalized reciprocity. That means people cooperate with each other and eat in groups like this. In the evening and in the morning, people come to the halwa where male guests are hosted, and they were given tea and food. So if you are in that village and it happens to have no food that day, all you have to do is just come to the dara, and nobody will ask you why you don't have food.
So you just make sure your community is fed.
Yeah, and this is what a written code, it's a written kind of code, which is, we call it, guaranteed subsistence for everybody in the family, even if you don't have anything. That's how people survive. That's how people survive. And until today, the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that people, depending on each other, to, having this overriding word of subsistence and self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what differentiates rural Sudan from these big towns like Khartoum and Durman and so on. Yeah, so it's they have this cooperation so that everybody, is well fed, well clothed, and during big occasions like births and this, people come together, chip in the resources so that the occasion will be all right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a particular painting of yours that's always stuck with me, and it's the one right behind you there on the bottom of the figures running.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is in local language we call it shilel. أكل الدودو شليل وين راح أكل التمساح. This is a full moon play, children play. When we were kids during the 70s, there is no electricity in rural Sudan at that time. So full moon is a special occasion for us. So we go a little bit away from the village, not to disturb the old people and women and stuff like that. We go outside and then we start playing different games, and that's kind of thing that stuck with you for a very long time. That's why it comes out in the shape of artwork.
It's I think it sticks with me because I remember doing the same thing with my friends in the neighborhood, and when we could stay out later, like in the summer, and there'd be nothing but moonlight, like some street lamps, but also it just reminds me of running with my friends at night, playing in the yard and some of the surrounding areas of the neighborhood.
Yes,
that's one of my favorites of yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like it, and actually I was thinking of making a big one of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just a work like this, it brings all these children kind of emotions.
Mm-hmm. Nostalgia.
Nostalgic, very nostalgic. Yeah.
So yeah, some of your other pieces. Can you tell me about this piece?
Yeah, this is it's a Sudanese youth revolution, and it happened in 2019, and actually this special piece, a train carrying revolutionaries from the town of Adbara, which is north of the capital of Sudan, Khartoum, and they are coming to the capital to support the youth revolutionary who were agitating against dictatorship of Omar al-Bashir, who has been ruling Sudan for 30 years, and actually everything went down. Economy went down, education went down, services went down, and people could take it no more. That's why they were agitating in the street, making demonstrations, and at last this youth revolution actually succeeded, and he was ousted out of power, no longer in power. Then came a new democratic civilian government. It was a very telling kind of story. It can be depicted in a painting like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I like about your work is that it's very straightforward, but it tells so many stories, either just of daily life or of major political events like this. So yeah, I want to thank you for talking with us about your work, and we'll be showing some of his pieces digitally as a part of our Tangled Roots multicultural exhibition. I'll include information about how people can contact you if they want to know more about your work or or even purchase work. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
And thank you, Hassaballa. This was great.
Okay, Mr. Wolf. This has been an honor. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.